Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu salam wa rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir al-Quran, the Juz al-Quran and spares. We have reached Surah Fatir and we have covered in the last two sessions really. The first selection, verses 5 and 6. We still have a few verses before we reach the second selection, 15 to 18. And finally, we have 19 and 29, 30. Towards the last, at the end of the last session, we mentioned a comment on verse 10, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to Him belongs all honor and power, and He honors and He dignifies. It is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's not about titles. It's not about ethnicity, as you call it today. It's not about your color, your height, your genes. All this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all of these are signs, and I mean positive signs, beautiful signs pointing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whether you are Caucasian, whether you are African, whether you are from Southeast Asia, from whatever. The way you are is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's a beautiful gift. And while in English people speak about tolerance, since these are signs pointing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, including languages, in the same verse in the Qur'an, tongues and skin colors, tongues and colors. They are not to be tolerated, they are to be celebrated. We need to have a shift in our focus, not tolerance, because tolerance entails a degree of unease, that you are not happy with what you see, with what you have. It's not tolerance. You should reach the level of celebration. Then the verse, that verse 10 spoke about a good deed, but also good words, your speech. They all ascend to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the following verses, we'll begin. There are natural phenomena. The following verses address the creation of the human being, the pregnancy of woman, and age, the fresh water, and the sea, salty water, and from both people get fresh, palatable, pleasant meat. That's of fish, and jewelry, and these bodies of water were used. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala availed them for us to use for transportation, ships, and the phenomenon of the day and the night, and the solar system, the sun itself, the moon, having orbits to unappointed time. All of this coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from our Lord. And those whom people worship, these idols, these statues, these totems, they have nothing. They have zero impact on all these things. Let's read أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والله خلقكم من تراب. والله خلقكم من تراب ثم من نطفة ثم جعلكم أزواجا وما تحمل من أنثى ولا تضع إلا بعلمه وما يعمر من معمر ولا ينقص من عمره إلا في كتاب إن ذلك على الله يسير. It is Allah who created you from dust, from earth, meaning He created our father Adam, alayhi salam, peace be upon him, from dust, from earth. And indeed, the composition of the human body, we have 6 elements, major elements, that make up almost 99% of our body mass. Then smaller percentages of other elements: oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus. That's 99% of the human. They come literally from, they originate from the earth. Smaller portions, universe say negligent, because there is everything is bimiqdar. There is like a design. It's by design that you have these amounts. So the smaller amounts, the 1% would include the sulfur, potassium, sodium, chlorine, magnesium, and traces of iron and zinc and fluorine and other elements. So Adam alayhi salam was created from earth. Thereafter, after Adam alayhi salam, the human reproduction uh, is through the sperm, the nutfa, the sperm drop. He created us pairs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us pairs, ذكر and أنثى, a male and a female. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create Adam and Adam. He did not create Eve and Eve. He created Adam and Eve. There's a clear message here. وما تحمل من أنثى ولا تضع إلا بعلمه. No female ever conceives or delivers without his knowledge, except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. He's omniscient, all-knowing. But there is previously we have the verse that speaks about no female carries fetus, becomes pregnant. Allah knows whatever every female carries. الله يعلم ما تحمل كل أنثى وما تغيض الأرحام. وما تغيض الأرحام, it's something is decreasing in the wombs. Obviously, those who think that it is alluding to miscarriage, it could be the case. Something is decreasing. It could be the case. Something is decreasing. But I would like to add to the picture so that people could think about what I'm going to say, because since it talks about, in the first instance, I think we need to what every female carries. Then in the second part speaks about what the wombs decrease. Something decreases in the wombs. It did not say something decreases in every female during pregnancy, and I think it could be understood in terms of the decrease in the number of oocytes. When we talk about the lifetime supply of eggs the immature egg cells, if you will. So every female, and the highest number, the largest number of oocytes in a female, it's when a female is a fetus, about 20 weeks gestation, and we talk about 6 to 7 million of these. By the time she is born, the number decreases. Just think about the word decreases, because wama taghid, something decreases. The number decreases to approximately 1 to 2 million oocytes. And during her lifetime, first of all, no more, nothing increases in the eggs. It's simply it decreases. Uh, and the number of sites diminishes by about 11,000 each month before puberty. Then, by the time she enters puberty, only 25% of the original egg count remains, 300 to 400,000. And by the time she reaches menopause, a year after her last menstruation, she would be depleted. And the last, let's say, second half of her, like when she reaches 35, that's when her fertility decreases. And I'm saying this, one can go back to gynecologists, to physiologists, people who are scientists really. But there is something also about our way of life nowadays. A woman, many women simply go from high school to university, first degree. Now she graduates, she's about 22. Then she goes for a master's degree, say it could be law, or she basically goes to a medical school, or she's caught up with her professional life, and she builds her career, and out of a sudden she is in her 30s. And that's not good news if she does not get married and she does not get pregnant, and things decrease in the womb. I thought simply of sharing this, just in terms of as a possibility to interpret وما تغيض الأرحام, because it's وما تغيض الأرحام وما تزداد also. One can think about what increases in the womb itself. Once she reaches puberty, the womb gets ready every month, really, to receive a fertilized egg. There will be increases, of course, in the amniotic fluid, the lining, which thickens and if there's pregnancy, the placenta, the size, the certain hormones like estrogen and progesterone. Wallahu alam. I'm saying this so that people could think about these things, inshallah. And no one reaches old age long. Today, long age, they say, becoming centenarian, hitting the 100 mark. And no one's life is cut short. It's not that it has been decreed to be long, but it's simply Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decrees in advance whether one will live that long or not. Everything is written. The record, kitab. Okay, that's really but also the sustenance, everything. It remains the acquisition is that you act in this life, but there are certain things that will come your way, and whether one lives long or not, relatively speaking, we are all mortals, and that's easy for Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. All these things, the creation of Adam from earth, the subsequently uh, all the children of Adam reproduce, who are male and female, a sperm and ovum, and the role of the female is to that's natural to carry babies, and she should not be deceived by. Um, I said this before at one point. A Swiss gynecologist, very famous in her field, she advanced really the field of gynecology, and Dr. Ermi Ray, her husband convinced her that she should not. There is no need for her to become pregnant because, like all those children that she is helping, those ladies to give birth as if they are her children. And probably she was caught up with her own success story and what have you. And one day she got old, and one day uh, he left her for a younger woman, and one day she got retired and no family. Literally, she has a very distant relative, and she told me that she puts her head on the pillow and she cries. She cried that she, who helped thousands of women um, throughout her long career to give birth, she herself did not. She cried, and that's very sad. Don't allow this to happen to you. وما يستوي البحران هذا عذب فرات سائغ شرابه هذا ملح أجاج ومن كل تأكل لحما طريا وتستخرجون حلية تلبسونها وترى الفلك فيه مواخر تبتغوا من الفضل ولعلكم تشكرون. The two bodies of water are not alike. The two seas, the two bodies of water, the two. One is fresh, palatable, عذب فرات سائغ شرابه, and pleasant to drink, and the other is salty and bitter. Yet from them both you eat tender seafood and extract ornaments to wear. Tender seafood, I think let's put it this way, لحما طريا, I think it's about fish. Seafood, it could be sometimes not that tender, still delicious, but I'm talking about لحما طريا. I think it's a reference to fish. And extract ornaments to wear. استخرج حلية تلبسونها. Pears. There's an old industry in the Gulf region. Generation after generation, they dive and they dive for pearls, for oysters that have pearls. food for survival, and not only food for survival, but also ornaments. And you see the ships plowing their way through both to serve humanity, so you may seek his bounty and give thanks to him. وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. يولج الليل في النهار ويولج النهار في الليل وسخر الشمس والقمر كل يجري لأجل مسمى ذلكم الله ربكم له الملك والذين تدعون من دونه ما يملكون من قطمير. He merges the night into the day and the day into the night. Cycles. Out of a sudden you find yourself, it's night. Right now it's midnight. And almost in no time the day will break. And then you get busy and just move from one place to the other. You do your work, you run errands, and you be active, and then another day, another evening, another night. And he has subjected the sun and the moon, subjected the sun and the moon for us. Elsewhere in the Qur'an, لِتَعْلَمُوا عَدَدَ السِّنِينَ وَالْحِسَابَ وَالْقَمَرَ قَدَّرْنَاهُ مَنَازِلَ لِتَعْلَمُوا عَدَدَ السِّنِينَ وَالْحِسَابَ. These phases of the moon, so that you would know the time, calculate the seasons. Subjected the sun because there's plenty of energy coming our way. We need that. And to be too much energy without the atmosphere. Subhanallah. Mars has no atmosphere. And I don't know. This is not definitely. I'm not a mufti, and there's no fatwa about going to Mars. There was some scholar who said that it's prohibited because it's risky. Well, it's risky to go in aeroplanes. It's risky to go in ships. It's risky to go in the bus. It's risky to drive your motorcycle. That's definitely very risky. You cannot prohibit that. But the idea you talk about, why the obsession with sending people to Mars, and the cost. Are you going to send like 8 people? We have never sent 8 people together to a mission, and that will be 1 in a billion to a place with no atmosphere. And you have to live in a space suit if you venture outside your bubble. If it does take place, is it because the earth is polluted? Let's clean it. At least let's stop polluting it more. Is it because of the corruption on earth? Is it going to be better on Mars? Are we going to repeat the same story of humanity elsewhere? Everything is orbiting these the stars. The sun is one of them. The planets, the moons, everything in the universe is orbiting for an appointed time. كل يجري لأجل مسمى والشمس تجري لمستقر لها. The sun, and if the sun is running, having an orbit, moving to an appointed time, everything else also, this universe will come to an end. It has a beginning and it does have an end, and that will be definitely the day of judgment. All that has been mentioned thus far, that's basically the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ذَلِكُمْ اللَّهُ رَبُّكُمْ لَهُ الْمُلْكُ. That is Allah. After mentioning all these, that is Allah, your Lord. All authority belongs to Him. The dominion is His. Everything belongs to Him. But those idols you invoke, وَالَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ نَكِرَةٌ. Those idols you invoke besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do not possess even the skin of a date stone, qitmir. That much they don't possess. There's like a very thin film skin. You might not even notice that there is, if you are not familiar with dates. Your idols are good for nothing. Your totems are good for nothing. Don't worship them. There should be no reference to these pieces of stone or wood or steel or glass or clay or whatever. Inshallah, in the next session, we will begin with a verse that reflects on the relationship with these idols. If you call upon them, they cannot hear your calls. Inshallah, we'll get to verse 14 in the next session. Until then, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.